Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen of the press. Good afternoon, Bermuda. The Ministry of Finance has been reviewing its borrowing arrangements and practices used to finance the government's ongoing budget deficits. It's important to emphasize that this minister and this OBA government is unequivocally committed to the elimination of government deficits. Steps towards that objective are still a work in process and will be revealed at the appropriate time. However, in the meantime, it is forecast that the government will likely run operational deficits in the next 3 to 4 year period. The purpose of this press conference is to announce a revised strategy as to how the government actually finances the expected deficits in the medium term. Although the previous administration gave lip service to the inauguration of a medium-term financial plan, their actual method of debt financing remained unchanged. That is, the method was to borrow money either through bank lines or bond issues for the current fiscal year. There has never been a multi-year financing plan until now. The next bond issue, expected sometime this summer, is anticipated to cover 3 years' government operating deficits. Therefore, the amount raised could be as much as $800 million. The bond issue will consist of at least 2 separate tranches: a U.S. dollar institutional tranche and a Bermuda dollar local tranche. There will likely be 3 distinct investor groups targeted for subscription. A local retail Bermuda dollar investor. B, Bermuda-based U.S. dollar institutional investors. And C, global institutional investors. Now, why have we decided to make this strategic change? The answer is that we judge that we are in the last phase of the ultra-low interest rate, the U.S. dollar interest rate cycle. As the U.S. economy slowly gains strength, U.S. dollar interest rates, and therefore bond yields and borrowing costs, are likely to rise. Borrowing 3 years' worth of deficits now will save the government tens of millions of dollars of financing costs. This will give us certainty of financing as well. Instead of borrowing on a year-to-year basis in a rising market, we will be locking in 3 years at low rates. It will demonstrate that we are asserting control of our deficit situation instead of being constantly reactive. It will also demonstrate to rating agencies that we are tapping the local money markets as they have repeatedly recommended. The ministry is currently reviewing offers from a variety of investment banks to manage this upcoming bond issue and will announce the successful manager or managers in due course. We are confident that there is significant appetite in the local retail market for Bermuda government bonds. We have already apprised the rating agencies of our change in strategy. Now, some of you may be shocked by this announcement and the size of the issue, but the logic of this strategy, as stated, is easy for anyone to understand. Now, Bermudians may well ask, what about the debt ceiling and the new debt rules only recently put in place? Are you not breaking your own rules? The answer is no, we are not. Public debt is defined by a simple formula, and that is gross debt minus the money in the sinking fund. we intend to borrow 3 years' worth of deficits, but place 2 years' worth in the sinking fund. This means that public debt, as defined, will only rise by the 1 year's worth of deficits. We will take money out of the sinking fund as needed to finance the deficit. The money placed in the sinking fund from this bond issue will be prudently invested until it is needed. Now, Bermudians may also well ask, you were elected to reduce debt, not to increase it. You're reneging on your word. The answer to this question is in 2 parts. This strategy will save the Treasury between $20 and $40 million, depending what interest rates do in the next 3 years. One thing we know, that interest rates are not going down. Saving that kind of money reduces the debt. The second part is that every thinking person must accept that the debt will not be reduced overnight. This is money we would have had to borrow anyway. The only question is the timing of that borrowing. We choose now because we have the advantage. Lastly, we will need to amend the Government Loans Act to allow money to be deposited and extracted from the sinking fund, as it was not designed for multiple year budgeting. These amendments will be laid before the House of Assembly very shortly.